a very special Tomicron episode.
You're
Alice,
fine.
as your poor husband fell by SARS COV-2.
You are fine.
In my pharynx, in my larynx. Yes, I have been taken down. I
think you're gonna make
tested me today. Incorrect. I did everything right. I wore masks. I was double masked at times. I have yard signs about science. I called for the truckers' assets to be taken. I did everything right. I'm a good progressive. We live in a good progressive town where I have several Black Lives Matter signs out front. Hate has no home here. It does have no home here. I changed my avatar to all black, double masked. I told on people when they weren't masked. I yelled at women who didn't seem sufficiently masked to me. I didn't yell at too many of the men because I'm afraid of conflict of getting hurt, but I yelled at a lot of women. And I took to Facebook every time I saw some high school kids playing basketball without masks. I did everything right and fine. I got my COVID vaccine, which was from Pfizer, like Mr. Fauci
and
told
BioNTech.
me to. Right, and Scott Gottlieb told me to. And I got my second one from Mr. Fauci and Mrs. Lewinsky. They told me to. Walensky. And then I got my booster, like I was told to, and I've said everything right. I've done everything right, and I've always done it. For who, Alice? And
for us all.
For you, but not for me. And somehow, thanks, Death Santas, I now have COVID. And I've been suffering with it. It's probably a fatal case. I've been suffering with it.
I think you're going to make it.
Now for at least a week, which is something I call long COVID, Alice, which is what I have now.
Oh my gosh. We all were sick this week. The only person who had to be a big baby and be like, I can't smell my breakfast sausages.
I knew something was up. I knew something was up, which was rather neat, actually. To be honest, we cooked maple sausages, and I couldn't smell it whatsoever. And my kids were there, and by the way, my son's in trouble. James is in trouble. Jerk.
I have a feeling you have a problem with a lot of us right now.
I do. I have SARS COV-2, and my son.
We all had COVID. There was nobody crying.
Oh, right. I tried to make a gallows humor joke, Alice, even though I'm essentially on a ventilator now. I tried to make a gallows humor joke. Listen to this. By saying that it was I said, pretending it was a pregnancy test.
You asked if you were pregnant when I was trying to read your test. It was very humorous.
Exactly. To which the 8-year-old said, what, Alice?
You look like it.
Mm-hmm. I'm somebody in what's called the intensive care unit.
You are not.
I'm on a ventilator. Yes, I am. Yes, Sally. This is a perfect time to be.
Dave was out of the kitchen, so I went down to put him back in. And he won't move away from one of the vents because he can hear a rat in the basement.
Really?
Yeah.
Can we let him down in the basement?
Sure.
Good. There we go. Nice.
Okay.
Dave.
That's good. Okay.
Nice.
I'm glad that happens during our live stream.
Well, we've got a rat-eating dog, and there's a rat in the basement.
Good.
Dispatch that hound, Dave. You will get
What if there's a dead, poisoned rat in the basement because I put poison down there? And what if your dog eats the poison or the dead poisoned rat and dies?
We're going to need a search and rescue mission for Dave.
Why don't we just not, can we
want
just
Dave
talk
to go kill
about
the
this stuff outside of the show and make decisions as a team and not
What do you
just
mean?
on
People
the
want to be let into our lives. By the way,
Okay.
Another thing is I've got a GoFundMe set up, which has been rather anemic in donations so far, you cheap bastards. This is, I am a victim here. I have SARS COV-2, and I can't taste things now. Although today I could taste some stuff, but I can't taste stuff. So I'm going to need to be rehabbed. My palate and my taste buds will need to be rehabbed, and I'm going to need your help with that. And that's at GoFundMe. I tweeted about it already. Perhaps you could even be part of this. I've got a long journey ahead of me, but I'm willing to make this.
I think you're going to make it.
I'm willing to put the work in with the listeners who are also willing to put the work in, I think. And maybe you could put the work in with me. But there's a GoFundMe. Rather anemic so far, Alice. I wouldn't say that I'm bowled over by the amount of generosity. I also appreciate
Well, did you explain what the GoFundMe is going to be used for?
It's to rehab my taste buds and my palate since COVID has totally ripped it apart. And rendered those things completely useless. That's perfect. Go down with Sally.
Very cool.
So there is the GoFundMe is to help me rehab my palate. And we felt by the way, this is in consultation with medical experts that I've been talking to and seeing today. It was felt that the best way to do that was to bombard my palate as we go with rich cuisine.
Are you allowed to go to restaurants when you have COVID?
I can't go, not yet, but as we begin the road to recovery is what I call it. So rich cuisine, like places like the Capitol Grill and Grill 23 and Aquitaine, places like that. So in order to do that, obviously, we're going to need to raise funds to do that. But it's a long process, Alice. I'm going to put the work in. I don't know what's funny. But if I'm going to get my taste buds back, this is the way to do it.
I'm pretty sure I have COVID too. If you have COVID and I've been sick, I have COVID too.
I have comorbidities, as my son reminded me today.
You have an extra shot though, so it evens out.
So that is what's going on.
I only have 2, so I could die at any time.
So
actually, that's probably that's probably why you have it. Is I didn't get my booster.
Of course it is.
Because I'm not a good person
selfish.
like you.
That's right. By the way, here's what I'm wearing merch shirt today. Again. Mm-hmm. By the way, I don't look that fat. I don't look like I've been stung by 1,000 bees, Mr. Minahan. Woe betide you. He doesn't wear a mask when he jogs. Ergo.
He gave you COVID too.
Gave me COVID, exactly.
Yeah, and I have my Step-On Wife sweatshirt in hot pink today.
Yeah, that's right. And also, I am woe betide any of you suggesting that to the fact that
there was a lifestyle factor.
No, well, of course that there's. Obviously I treat myself well, but also to suggest that to try to show performative act of being dumbfounded that I'm only 49 on Twitter, belying my appearance is not appreciated. Woe betide you. An odd thing in Twitter is going on today, isn't it, Alice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you did point out to everybody that this is not your fault, that you're an innocent victim here.
Did, everything, right.
Mm-hmm. Period. All you need is some little clap emojis to really drive your
really?
point home in between each word. Yeah. But several people feel that it is not their fault and they're angry at you for suggesting that it is, and they think that you maybe should have lost some weight or something.
So incredibly, 2 things have happened from feedback-wise. Mm-hmm. One, obviously, you guys know, I'm obviously effing kidding about that. This pretend to be self-righteous is just effing around because people actually say stuff like that. So not only have a bunch of people I know who are progressives, and some of them in Democratic politics, actually said so sorry, and they believe everything I said. Yes, he did everything right. I did everything right. And I was right for blaming Florida, which is, of course, disappointing, but fine.
But also to be disappointed by them.
I'm under attack from the right. Somehow this got into the newsfeed of some people who believe I'm totally serious.
Right.
And are angry at me now for being just a bitch, a COVID bitch, a soy boy.
Yeah, there's lots of clown emojis like, liberal moron, what an idiot.
Can you imagine that? Which is another reason. Go to that GoFundMe page. Thank you very much, so I can begin my road to recovery. All right.
I think you're going to be okay. No, don't really give any money to his GoFundMe. No.
Hey, silence, woman.
The people listening right now are our Patreon listeners anyway, who already support.
They're used to being fleeced,
they
Alice.
already support us. And by the way, we've been talking about it. We want to do more live shows, so stay tuned for that. We're going to try and mix in some extra lives for those of you who give us money on Patreon. We're going to mix in some more live shows, so we'll keep posting them and doing them. And thank you guys for being here. It's so fun when we can take your questions. We already have a few questions here. We already have a few questions here. We have somebody wants to know if you can ask Fred Couples.
Why can't you say the person's name? What do you mean somebody?
Well, I don't know what people feel they want. I don't know.
Can I ask Fred Couples?
What a par 4 is.
Yeah, I could ask him that, although I think I know what that is. But that's the kind of question I would ask. There's no doubt. What a par 4 is. Why is the ball round? Might be something.
Why does it have those little dents in it?
Right. Why does it have the dimples, we call it in the game, Alice?
Okay,
why don't you just take a...
We had a problem like that on math team once, like to calculate the volume of a golf ball, where like the golf ball was a certain
whole episode of 1570 Project. Oh my God.
And then the dimples, there's like X number of dimples with a specific
save
diameter.
some chicks for the rest of us. My goodness. That must have been the popular group, I assume. Prom queen in there somewhere. Yes, if when I get Freddie Couples on, and I may have to actually book him now because Cullinane has been shooting volleys at me. You should do it. I will ask him all sorts of rudimentary things. Why don't you just place the ball in the hole? Walk it over?
Kick it?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And also, why don't you just drive on the course? You know?
I didn't even know you
They walk. All the pros walk. Why don't you just drive? Trump drives on the green.
Is that bad? I think
it
know.
It's not good.
Wow.
I did a little golfing, actually, 1980 and 4, 5, and 6. And I took lessons at Bear Hill Country Club in Stoneham. I have what's considered a great stroke. It pales in comparison to my McDonald Field 1980 and 5, 21 strikeouts, 21 batsmen.
You need to explain to me what you want on that
down.
T-shirt for because we need a T-shirt to memorialize that great day. McDonald Field in Winchester.
I don't know if you could be quiet the whole time I was sipping. The idea is, Alice, is that to fill the air.
I came to a stopping point in what I was saying. Okay. I can't help it that you are drinking over there. Are you supposed to drink when you have COVID? Maybe you should take a break.
No, if you have SARS COVI 2, in an anomalous bullet point, the CDC does recommend drinking and in excess, which is very much unlike them.
So when I had what I consider real SARS CoV-2 back in January of 2020, before COVID was here, quote unquote, and me and 3 of the boys got pneumonia, I not only couldn't drink, I couldn't eat, I couldn't stand up. I was leaning on the wall to walk across the room because I was so just out of breath and dead. And this
well, you got it fresh from the pangolin. This is we're a couple years in.
Right. This is not and now I must have COVID too now. This cold that I've had this week or whatever. There's no chance you have it. I'm not gonna spoiler alert, but we're married, so we are pretty close and intimate at this point in our relationship. If you have COVID, my sickness that I have is definitely COVID.
Well, we've all been
too.
sick for a couple weeks, right?
But this is not the same beast as what was going around in January of 2020. Whether it's because
my particular one is very serious.
No, it's not what this is not what I had in January 2020. That was lying in bed, shaking with fever. No, but my point is that this COVID that's going on now is not the COVID that was here last year.
Okay. You were tougher. You're tougher than everybody else. You had to get COVID.
I'm not making a point about toughness. I'm making a point about the fact that we need to move on. That COVID is now done, right? And that this is the COVID that's going around now is not that serious, and we have good treatments for it.
You tell that to a rotund man trying to smell his sausages in the morning, Alice.
Yeah, and life's tragic.
All right.
So, it probably wouldn't kill you if you couldn't smell some of your food for a week.
What does that mean exactly?
You're fine.
What does that mean?
It means just don't eat for a little bit. It's fine. Intermittent fasting.
A2, Alice? Really? You went hogging when you found me. You
were skinnier than you are now.
Well, I was still a fat.
You were skinnier than you are now.
I was still a fat.
You were skinnier than you are now. And you were saying you were getting in shape.
Obviously. All right. So I can't, we were talking about it beforehand. I'm already mad at the Ukraine war for just screwing around. So have a war, okay? Or don't have a war. But I'm sick of this. First of all, I'm sorry, but it is true. All these networks are champing at the bit. It's champing, right? Mm-hmm. They're I felt bad for Anthony Blinken today because all the people are browbeating him. Saying, well, aren't we going to do something? What if they go in there? Shouldn't we do something? Don't we owe them something? Should we do something? It's how much do they really? Is this really true? Is this where we are? That we really do want a war?
I think a bunch of people do want a war. There's totally a bunch of people in Washington who love this stuff. It's all the same people who wanted to go. War with the Russians is not a fun war. Yeah. That's not a good one. No, it's different than even going to war in Iraq or Afghanistan.
I would say so.
That's not. We don't need to be at war with Russia. That's cool.
If you
I'm
fight
good.
Russians in Europe, then you're going to need to be, those Nike missile sites I like so much? Well, they're going to be powered right back up because you can't have a direct war with the Russians, a nuclear-armed country, without a problem. And do you think...
I don't know what's happening.
Anyway, so but they're jumping a bit there. I've heard a bunch of conservatives who I like very much say that Biden at this point is not doing that bad a job by keeping all of the Russian incursions and all the.
I need to wash my hands.
Okay,
Okay,
go ahead.
wash your hands, bud. Good job.
What do you?
No,
I
she's
can't
doing a
right now.
podcast
Sally
with
can
us.
help
She
you
can't
wash
do-
your hands. I can't
No.
wash your hands right now.
Sally!
I'm live.
Please.
No, you don't have to hide. Can you
Okay.
just go back out, please?
He needs to wash his hands. He needs your help.
Okay, follow me. I can help.
Follow her. She'll help you. There you go, Cyril. Thank you, boy. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Sally.
Good child.
Thank you. So, and maybe he is subsequently. I mean, I've seen people, unfortunately, like already using the opportunity to say, "See, we're doing something smart and measured, etc." that Trump never did. It's like maybe you're right, but Trump never had.
We weren't starting a war with Russia.
Right, we're
Under
starting a war
Trump.
with Russia, and the Russians. I guarantee you, Putin. Trump killed a bunch of Russians in battle in Syria. I guarantee you that Trump was an unknown, and there was no way Putin didn't. You didn't know what Trump would do.
Well, right. There was even the whole fake Russian bounties story thing. Remember that? So,
right. So I would hold before these people start celebrating what Biden's doing here. First of all, he missed opportunities. Ted Cruz in January, pushed the bill to sanction the Russians for the pipeline and this and that and harass them. A bunch of stuff we could have done, but we took it off the table. Is it the SALT treaty?
Yeah.
The START treaty. So I mean, once again, we're playing from behind. But maybe this stuff. I mean, maybe this stuff is throwing Putin off. In the sense that but my problem is that I don't believe our administration. So when they say the Russians are going to do crisis actor stuff, I don't believe Blinken anymore because he's
I don't
insane.
believe our people, and I don't
can't
believe
somebody
Putin
who
and the
tells me
Russians
it's important that men are allowed to be girls because they feel like it, and that everybody needs to be woke and know about critical race theory in the military. Then you've lost your mind to me, and I don't trust you. So I don't trust Blinken. I don't trust anybody in this administration. I don't trust Putin either. But at least him, I know.
He's a known unknown, right? He's like a known untrustworthy character. So it's like he's not trustworthy, right? People aren't going on CNN and telling you should totally believe Putin because he's very important and good. And like with Biden and Blinken and stuff, that's what we've got is we have the press taking them at face value. And I just don't believe them. And then we have Kamala, who's just an unserious person. She's been, over there bouncing around Europe. She's in Munich talking about stuff.
Explain to Americans what exactly will they face if this happens.
Sure. As the president talked about in his speech, we are aware that, again, when America stands for her principles and all of the things that we hold dear.
Whereas the problem is we're already into the bullshit with her. Already, she is trying. You can hear the gears turning. Mm-hmm. As the president said, "I'll do it." As if she's got this. It's almost a chore for her
to come down to our level because she's explaining this with a lot of emphasis.
Yes,
and some pauses too.
Yes, and
to let you know that she really understands.
There's a lot of import here.
It requires sometimes for us to put ourselves out there in a way that maybe we will incur some cost. And in this situation, that may relate to energy costs, for example. But we are taking very specific and appropriate, I believe, steps to mitigate what that cost might be if it happens.
Here's heard another stop.
I mean, listen, guys. We're talking about the potential for war in Europe. I mean, let's really take a moment.
I love how she's, oh, really? Ukraine's in Europe. In Russia is too. My goodness, we hadn't thought of that. It is such a blowhardy thing to say to a press gaggle. Guys, it's also a way to throw a smoke bomb and say, guys, this is very more serious than you're calibrated to.
Moment to understand the significance of what we're talking about. It's been over 70 years. And through those 70 years, as I mentioned yesterday, there has been peace and security.
As someone with relatives in the former Yugoslavia, I would say that that's slightly inaccurate. Just
yes,
tiny bit
I mean, how the hell? How is it? How is it? Well, there's either that is such a gigantic WTF moment that either one, she thinks that after everybody rolled through Berlin and Hitler killed himself, then she actually feels that after the Nazis were crushed that there was actual tranquility, or she sees the Iron Curtain as decades of positive developments.
Yeah, or she
peace and tranquility.
Or she doesn't consider. Clearly she doesn't consider Eastern Europe at all.
Right.
Right. So like
peace
the whole Yugoslavia
Jesus.
wars and everything, like that's all apparently not even in Europe. I mean, I think what she means is like it's been 70 years that Americans could go on vacation to Paris and not have to worry about it, right? Like, is that what she's saying? I guess, because that's like the most generous explanation I can come up with. But yeah, like
maybe, but Alice, there was peace and tranquility, except because of the Soviets, of whom Vladimir Putin was one.
Right.
It's like, Jesus.
Also, they took another part of Ukraine under the last Democrat president, did they not?
In Georgia under Bush.
Right.
So
like we've been playing this game. This isn't like a new thing. The only time it actually stopped was under Trump, it seems to me.
Right.
We are talking about the real possibility of war in Europe. So our position is for us very clear, which is as a leader, which we have been, bringing together the allies, working together around our collective and unified position.
Oh, God, the horse bleed. Jesus, somebody just... Why do they think it's a good idea to put her out there? Why?
That we would all, not just prefer, we desire, we believe, it is in the best interest of all that there is a diplomatic end to this moment. And so where do we want this to end? That is where we want it to end.
So that's what's going on. And it is funny. At one point, Chuck Todd, I don't have it, but Chuck Todd did ask the former ambassador of the Ukraine, like, why do you think he's moving now? He didn't do it for all 4 years of the Trump administration. Why now? And he sidestepped the question, essentially. But I think we know why now. Because there's some stuff. Trump was a different cat. And Trump proved to not be sensitive to polling, to not be sensitive to the loudest voices in media. He didn't give a flying bleep. To his detriment, he called it the Muslim ban during the campaign. You know, and then tried to install or tried to, create the travel ban when he was president. And he was not sensitive to criticism. Him and Stephen Miller were resolute. Nope, that's fine. Trump, you can say, I think most of you people who hate him will say that that's one of the things is that, he seemed cold and he was he was not swayed by public opinion. He did not or the national media opinion anyway, or societal opinion. He didn't care, which was a great thing about him. In my opinion, that was a great thing about Trump, that he went up there and said, like the whole Charleston, was it Charleston? Charlottesville.
Okay.
Presser was a great press conference. Of course, he was destroyed for saying fine people on both sides because the media are apparatchiks. They're dishonest apparatchiks. But he went up there and kicked ass and said exactly what he should have said. If you listen to it again now, without the media telling you what to believe. Okay. Speaking of the media, here's just a small sample of something. Jonathan Capehart, he's a dumb, but he's very well educated. He's got a show on NBC on Sundays. We've played his stuff before. He says dumb stuff. Maybe I have a sample of it. How are you doing, by the way? How's everything going? You keep looking at
Good. I screwed up the sound in the live stream, but I think I fixed it. I'm not sure. We'll see. So the next sound that you play, hopefully people will hear it, because apparently it wasn't coming through correctly. But in any case, I think that's why we need to do more live streams, so we can practice, because it's a lot of moving parts on these ones. But
Sure, I'm going to catch all kinds of hell for saying this, but when doctors around the country are telling us that COVID infection rates are going up and that the overwhelming majority of those infections are among the unvaccinated, I'm more than happy to hurt some feelings. How can you read the Facebook post of Alabama doctor Brittany Cobia about the last requests of young unvaccinated patients and not feel a roiling mix of sadness and rage? One of the last things they do before they're intubated is beg me for the vaccine, she wrote. I hold their hand and I tell them that I'm sorry, but it's too late.
Other things.
A few days later, when I call time of death, I hug their family members and I tell them the best way to honor their loved one.
So here's him. Here's Capehart. This is him talking to Newsom. It's just a small thing, because listen to Newsom say something, and Capehart unable to contain himself.
Which is full-time propaganda coming from a disciplined, far extreme right that will continue to racially prime, continue to promote these cultural wars in any way, shape, or form. I mean, they're banning books. I mean, you can't make this up. I mean, you can't make up the moment we're living.
You hear him laughing along?
Yeah.
You're so right. Oh my God, what a itch bag. All right. So a couple of other things that I like. I'm done with Russia. Are you good with Russia?
I'm all set with Ukraine.
There's a woman who went in front of one of these school boards. I'm not even sure where this is. It might be Virginia, maybe not. But anyway, she takes to task one of the people on the school board because they yelled at her about not wearing a mask last time. Well, this woman then found a school board member's Facebook pages, which are filled with maskless photos, and all this happened.
Miss Cass, you also yelled at me the last time I was here for taking off my mask, but here's a picture of you right here on Facebook with a crowd of people.
That's it.
With no mask on. This is my time, and I don't interrupt you. Here's another picture with you with a no mask on.
I'm sorry, Ms. Vaught, you are done. If you are going to sit there and disparage a member of our school board, then you can sit down.
Not
if you have something effective to say.
I have facts and truth on my side.
I am not going to sit here.
This isn't about you anymore. It's about
Can we have a police officer, please?
Really?
Yes.
Down comes the officer.
No, I'm not scared. I don't care. I would like you.
Isn't that wonderful? To disparage. I won't let you sit there and disparage us. You know,
if you say something negative about me, we are getting the police to remove you, madam. Like, excuse me? We're not allowed to point out that you don't wear masks all over your Facebook page while you make our kids masks?
Exactly. Well, if anything, she should be thanking her for making a good example. You know, you're totally right. I should have been wearing a mask. No. You don't come here in my room and deign to criticize me.
Either talk about something, you can talk about something that concerns our school board.
Where's my TV?
Is there something about our students you would like to talk
the
about?
School board slightly.
Then talk about our students.
You're taking up my time.
Can you please ask Ms. Vaught to leave? Thank you.
What, for speaking the truth?
Ms. Vaught, let's let the rest of us talk.
It's incredible.
No.
So you are.
If you would like to finish about students.
Can you imagine that? They've cut off her mic, and they have a cop now trying to drag her away.
But if your idea is to stand there.
It's not about you
Huh?
anymore. Now
She
it's
should be
about
able to
my
say her
right to
piece.
call him.
I've had to listen to people come and criticize me.
People came here and criticized you last year?
Absolutely. And I couldn't do anything about it. And
Exactly.
publicly, I was humiliated.
So people came here and they talked about your mask to your face. They showed pictures of your family. They showed pictures of your.
Yeah, they did worse.
Pictures there, you did.
That doesn't make it right.
No, it
That
doesn't.
doesn't make it right, Jamie.
You're right, but I had to sit.
That's my family. That is
Unbelievable.
fine.
What do you think about our family?
I am not.
Our family is being suffocated to death.
I'm
by
done.
your policies.
So she walks out. The board member walks out.
She leaves or I leave.
Time is up.
She leaves or I leave.
Time is up.
You can leave. Nobody made you be a school board member. I hate these people so much.
We're coming for them. All of them.
Ooh, nice line. We're coming for them, all of them. That is that's Newsbusters.
But like, I don't get it because they've done this stuff like where they're telling Merrick Garland they don't feel safe because like angry parents have come to school board meetings and whatever, and like, you know, oh, they're threatening she brought a picture of a picture of your family that you posted on Facebook. Get a life. Like, you're a public figure. If you post stuff on the internet, people can see it and they might even copy it and talk about it and show it to other people and bring it to your meetings and talk about what you put on your social media. It might happen because you're a public figure, which you chose to be. You ran for the elected position. You went there. You want to be up there on the school board making the decisions. If you do that, like, take it like an adult. What's wrong with people? Like, nobody's making you be on the school board. You can go home and you can mind your own business and not put masks on other people's kids if you want to be able to go on Facebook and do whatever without anybody judging you. You know, and I have news. People go around judging other people on social media all the time anyway. But if you don't want it dragged out in public and put on your local TV station, then you shouldn't be on a school board or a city council or whatever. You chose that. You want to be on the seat. And if that's what you want, then, you know, then deal with the fact that people are going to talk about you and disparage you and say things about you sometimes that you don't like. It's called having to make tough decisions. People say negative things about their elected officials. They were all running around saying tons of negative things about Trump. But that's life. When you run for stuff, people say mean stuff about you. Like, your life has to go on and you have to learn to handle it. I don't understand why, you know, the supposed adults like don't get this.
Right.
You know, Mayor Wu is another one. She's Miss Sensitivity about all this stuff. There's all these complaints every time somebody mixed her up with some other Asian politician, probably who was just a heckler, some like probably crazy homeless person or something. I don't even know. Some guy yelled out at Mayor Wu at some other Asian politician. Who cares? And she's like, I can't believe the racist abuse I get. And people have been complaining. Maybe, who was it? Somebody else weighed in. It might have been Ed Markey saying, like, I can't believe I've never seen so much racist abuse directed at. Like,
God, shut up.
It's so pathetic.
Pussy,
like,
stop it.
It's like so whiny. Like, Mayor Wu, I'm sorry. You're the most powerful person in the entire city of Boston. You can mask everybody's children. You can make vaccine requirements for restaurants. Like, sorry, people can say mean things about you. Like, tough luck. Like, don't be mayor next time. I don't know. There's plenty of jobs where you don't have to have your Instagram live streams interrupted by people saying mean things to you. There's plenty of jobs that you can have. A lot of them pay really well where you don't have to deal with stuff like that. But if you choose politics, then that's what you choose because that's how it goes. And I'm sorry, like, I know it's not fun, but like, that's life. You know, they were all excited when they all yelled at Sarah Palin. They're all excited to make fun of Trump. They're all, you know, it doesn't, but if their little darlings have to deal with the tiniest bit of criticism, it's like they like curl up. I can't believe the abuse that I've been subjected to merely trying to stand up.
Isn't it? It's miraculous. It's incredible. I mean, you shouldn't be able to.
Or like Trudeau fleeing Ottawa.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to come back from that.
You're the one who wanted to be.
Me. It's like, I'll give Biden some credit. He ain't that, at least.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he blows off hecklers. He'll shout back at them a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
But he doesn't like go online and say like, I can't believe the amount of angry epithets that have been hurled at me. Like, he doesn't care. Like, he laughs stuff off. It's not a big deal. And you have to, it's like part of being in politics is that's like what you get, kind of. Especially in times of great stress and turmoil, which is like what COVID is. But if you want to be the person who's in there making the tough decisions, then you're going to have to learn to live with the fact that like half the country isn't going to like your decision-making process. And they're going to be mad about it. And some of them are going to...
He's also sick of being talked down to. And sometimes, like this guy, Glenn McGregor from CTV, his news station has been lying about protesters and calling them Nazis forever. And he goes out there and he wants to, you know, do a stand-up in front of them, and they shout at him, and he's a bitchy about it. It's like, you got to come in, dude.
These protests being harassed, screamed at, as you can hear. This is the one thing, Yasmin, that unites these groups that have been protesting here in Ottawa for the last 3 weeks is the way they feel about the media. And they are venting it loudly and often, as you can tell. So we apologize. We're not kind of the kinder, gentler Canada you may be.
Liars! You're a real true hero, bud. True hero. Sleaze bags. Get a real job.
I've lost the IP.
Sack the goddamn Who pays your check?
We lost.
It's all good, guys.
Guys, the media is the virus. You guys disgusting.
Truth will set you free. Thanks, Yasmin. Appreciate it.
He was talking to the
Now, forgive me,
headquarters.
I don't
Thanks,
know
guys.
this, but and I probably could look it up, but is CTV like PBS here? Is it
I don't know.
public? Because when they said like who pays you or whatever,
Right.
I think that seemed like it was the implication to me, but I'm not 100% sure if that's accurate. They've also been reporting in Canada that people like they wanted to crack down on people who were quote like funding the terrorism, but they've been reporting that people who are just family members of people who have been involved in the protest have been like their cards have been declined, their bank accounts frozen, people shutting them down. I mean,
I think I was on CTV once, Alice. Remember
Were
the
you?
snowstorm?
Oh, with a iPad, weren't you?
Yes.
Yes,
It was
I
incredible.
remember that vaguely. So is CTV public?
I looked
Do
it
we
up,
know?
and the thing I came up with is Ontario government staffer out of a job after a $100 donation to Ottawa blockade. Others under scrutiny. The
That's
director
incredible.
of communications in the Ontario ministry responsible for enforcing the law is out of a job after she was tied to a $100 donation supporting the convoy blockading streets.
Oh, it's privately owned, I guess it
Is it?
says. So there you go. I guess
So-
that's wrong. But yeah, it's the way Canada is cracking down on their citizens over this stuff is just, I mean, it's outrageous and incredible. And if it's extended to like family members of people involved, I mean, like they're taking their dogs like and killing them
Right.
and freezing people's bank accounts, telling them they can't leave the country, arresting them, canceling the insurance on their trucks. Like
They're acting as if this was a 9/11 style attack that had happened. Here's a question to the Ottawa police chief.
If the protesters at this point, retreat and go home, are they going to be getting sort of repercussions down the road? Or are you going to be sort of actively pursuing the people that you've been sort of documenting and filming who are still out there protesting? What are your plans after this, after the protest is over?
So thank you. It's a great question. And the simple answer is yes. If you are involved in this protest, we will actively look to identify you and follow up with financial sanctions and criminal charges. Absolutely. This investigation will go on for months to come. It has many, many different streams, both from a federal financial level, from a provincial licensing level, from a criminal code level, from a municipal breach of court order, breach of court injunction level. It will be a complicated and time-consuming investigation that will go on for a period of time. You have my commitment that investigation will continue, and we will hold people accountable for taking our streets over.
Jesus. Can you imagine? I mean, you could also just get rid of the mandate, the useless mandate. There's no reason to. I mean, the fact that they weren't vaccinated is why now I have SARS COVI 2. And I'm in the ICU and on a ventilator.
Yeah, but it's amazing. And I mean, like, people have been comparing this a lot to, like, the January 6th, the way that those people have been treated under the law, which is partially true. But it also seems that this is a lot more extreme to me. For one thing, like, the going after the finances of other people who weren't involved, if they, like, had family members or, like, donated to people or whatever, like, it's not like people who've donated to GoFundMe's to get January 6th people out of jail to like donate to their legal funds have had their other regular bank accounts frozen to not be able to buy groceries in the United States. That hasn't happened here, to my knowledge. Yet.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
You're
right.
But I mean, and we haven't seen here, for example. I mean, we certainly saw people lose jobs for like donating to Kyle Rittenhouse. That was like a thing that happened. But we haven't seen like the same level of, and the January 6th people also like assaulted cops, and not all of them obviously, but some of them assaulted cops, wrecked stuff in the building, did stuff, like they, whereas I haven't seen really like the truckers doing much of anything at all.
No.
Like, they've had bouncy houses and been singing in the streets. Like, they haven't stormed any buildings.
But these people also went after a coffee shop that the truckers were using to buy coffee. It's like this ain't a good look, man. This is not good.
Well, and when the problem is when it spreads so far that you start hitting other people outside. Like, if they just arrested like the main organizers and towed the trucks out of there or whatever and called it a day, like that, I don't think there would be the same level of sympathy. But when you're like dragging people off, impounding their pets, freezing their relatives' bank accounts, and
accusing them of being Nazis. Trudeau is...
You start to like hit a lot of people who haven't really done much of anything in the crossfire, right? Like, and that's when you start to run into a problem. And now with them saying like, we're going to keep going after these people even if they go home, now you're like creating a sort of do or die ultimatum situation, because you're telling these people, even if you retreat and go home, this isn't over, we're still coming after you. So then the person said, like, what's the incentive for you to go home now? They're saying your life is ruined because you're here, and even if you go home, we're going to continue to ruin you. So the person's like, well, my only choice then is to stay here and hope that I can get you to stop what you're doing right now.
Totally true. And also, like, these people are already going to lose their jobs because they're not getting vaccinated.
Right.
So like, it's. I hope this thing grows. I really do. And I'm.
I mean, it seems to still be going. They were out there. I
just think that Trudeau is and that kind of progressive. They're an ugly part of our society, and their politics and what they've caused. And I saw this myself right after it brought up this elitism right after Trump won. I saw people change right in front of me and become delusional liars.
Yeah.
And in classes right in front of me, it was one moron I was talking to on the air.
I don't think they became classist. I think they just started to let it show.
Yes. Oh, totally. He was up so couldn't believe in the middle of a debate we were having that I didn't go to college. You didn't go to college? He said, this guy who had the mind the size of a freaking Tic Tac. Seriously. But think, oh my God! So it was his way of being able to get out of the debate. I'm not even doing this with you then. It's like, okay, you want to be the same guy, by the way, who made up hate crimes that he supposedly saw. He kept seeing these hate crimes from Trump voters all over Massachusetts. Incredible how that happens. But also, what makes them so terrible is that you're seeing in the country now the direct results of their politics. You're seeing it. And I've got a couple of great from the West Coast, a couple of great news wraps. Here's one of them. This is in Oakland, where the middle of the streets, the public streets, are now used as chop shops.
Business owners frustrated over what they say is an illegal homeless encampment being used as a chop shop.
The thieves are reportedly abandoning the stripped-out cars in the middle of the street, blocking traffic.
New at 6, KPIX5's Da Lin on the growing calls for the city to step in.
Oakland police instructed a tow truck company to remove 9 cars on this one block. They just finished it a few hours ago, allowing traffic to once again get through. A public works supervisor tells me they'll clear all the remaining trash, hopefully by next week. This was what it looked like Friday morning, driving on Alameda Avenue near High Street. Drivers maneuvering around abandoned cars to get to roughly 2.
There's a traffic jam of abandoned, gutted cars. It's incredible. Nice cars. So these dudes are going to nice neighborhoods, grabbing good cars, bringing them to the homeless
encampment.
Yep, the autonomous zones, where they strip them and totally gut them.
And then leave them there.
Nope. Then they move them out to the main streets outside of the autonomous zones and just clog up the streets. They don't give a frig.
Dozen businesses in the area.
Just a mess. It's a mess.
The westbound lane was passable, but the eastbound lane was completely blocked by a handful of cars, most of them without wheels.
These are cars that are literally sitting in the middle of the street. They're blocking the ability for cars to pass.
Businesses say these cars have been here for at least 4 days, making it difficult for customers to get in and out.
It's a safety hazard. It's negligence. There's no accountability from the city, and we need somebody.
You voted for those people, lady.
Yeah.
You voted for all those people in this.
Because they were mean and not Trump. The Trump people were mean and they didn't want to have them. And you
right. And also in Minnesota, a cop killed a guy. So everything has to change now because my tiny brains can't handle that when it's on YouTube during the COVID shutdown.
Ready to be accountable.
Jennifer Yu and her husband, Kevin Kim, own High Street Car Wash next to Alameda Avenue after their repeated calls. Oakland police and a tow truck company came out Friday and towed the cars that were blocking traffic. But an officer says these cars will stay at least for now since they're not blocking traffic and the department doesn't have enough resources.
It's extremely infuriating.
An officer tells me,
why wouldn't the police officers have enough resources? How would that happen?
No, I can't imagine that. Maybe mean Republicans didn't want them to have resources.
Is there a chance it's been reimagined?
Thieves use this illegal homeless encampment as a chop shop. Once they're done stripping the cars, they'll drag them out to Alameda Avenue to make...
First of all, I want to say freaking hats off to those people involved in the chop shop racket. God bless you guys. A black market chop shop. They use the autonomous zone, and then just they purge the skeleton, the bones of the car out in the middle of the street and say, F it. Nobody's going to do a damn thing.
Room for more stolen cars in the encampment.
You hear that? Yeah, that's right. They've got to get rid of them because they need more inventory coming in. There's stolen cars waiting to get in. To which I say, I'm sorry.
What a problem to have.
That's my COVID coming up again, Alice. I'm sorry.
About your COVID. I have COVID too.
You don't have COVID too. I have SARS COVI too. From a pangolin, and I'm very sick now because of gain of function research, and you're not.
Thank you so much, everyone. If you are on Patreon, stick around. We're going to join you again on the other side for some extra bonus show over there. We're going to talk about masculinity coaches and machinations in the Senate. So we will see you on that side. You can find us for free, as always, at burnbarrelpodcast.com, wherever you listen to podcasts. Talk to us at burnbarrelpod on Twitter or burnbarrelpodcast@gmail.com.
C'est la vie.